Alrighty.
All right. Well, cool. So we're back. A couple brothers in arms, and we're just here to do another video, another spirit-led video. We haven't done a video in a while just because Zach was blessed with a new job recently, and he's been working a whole lot. So I'm very thankful to the Lord for blessing my brother with a good job. It's something we prayed for, and definitely a prayer answered. But needless to say, we don't get to see each other that much, and my phone doesn't work, so we only use his phone to make videos, and his phone only allows us to do 33 minutes tops. So whatever it is that whatever message we give today, or whatever message we're led to give today, is only going to be 33 minutes. So just giving you that heads up, because I know some people don't like to watch these big, long 4-hour videos. I think pretty soon we're gonna, maybe even before you leave, we might purchase some actual
Recording equipment.
Yeah, because we don't have the best, most high-tech equipment. Let's see. Let's show them. Look, this is our setup right here. That's our setup. It's pretty high-tech there.
He stole his wife's tripod.
Yeah, stole her little vanity mirror. But you know, it doesn't really matter. We're not doing it for all of that. We don't need to be high-tech to get the Word of God out. So I think what we wanted to talk, we don't really know what we're going to talk about.
We're just a discussion.
We're just going to have a discussion like we always do. But one thing, something that happened recently, was it today or yesterday that he passed away?
I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, so DMX, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the rapper DMX. He just recently passed away. I don't even know the strong details of why he died. I heard, don't quote me on this, I think the official story is that he had an overdose, a drug overdose, which may be true or not true, I don't know. I've also seen, heard, got some information that a lot of his family members are coming out saying that he had just taken the what do you want to call it?
The jab.
The jab. Yeah, he's just taken the jab about a week prior, and a lot of his family members are trying to come forth and saying that it's because of that. But we don't know, so I don't really want to.
It's all speculation.
Yeah, I don't want to make any speculation. I really, we don't like to say anything unless we know for sure. Unless we know that we know. And with that in mind, one of the things that just kind of troubles my spirit is these celebrities and just these the high society, the celebrities, the athletes, these Hollywood actors. It's almost like they're kind of given a pass because of their fame. And that when one of them dies, if they proclaim Christ once, that it automatically means they went to heaven. Now, that's one of the beefs I have, is we shouldn't ever proclaim that someone went to heaven or they didn't, whether someone made it to the kingdom or not, because we don't know. We have no way of knowing that. So I think it's very dangerous to say somebody didn't make it unless you really know that you know, unless God showed you. And God has shown people, like God's shown my wife visions of some of her friends that have passed away that did not make it. So she actually knows where they went, and it grieves us. But unless you know, you shouldn't say either way. I think it's just as equally dangerous to say that somebody made it to the kingdom and they're at peace and they're with Jesus if they're not. And I just think that unless you know for sure, you shouldn't say anything because you don't know, and only God knows. Only God knows. And, you know, when people pass away that we don't know, or maybe we're an acquaintance with, or someone famous, we can hope that they made it. I hope that DMX made it. I know that he did know the Lord, because he did put out some, you know, the quote unquote Christian rap, and he quote unquote found Jesus, and he did make some songs like Lord Give Me a Sign is one of them. It's a great song. I feel like there's an anointing on it, and it's something about someone as mainstream as DMX just like lifting up the Lord in a rap song. It really touched me, and I've prayed for him in the past, and I was thankful, and I prayed that more of these mainstream guys that are somewhat sold their soul, you know, and signed these contracts. I was praying that more of them would be converted and actually come to know Jesus and be born again. But you know, all I can do is hope. I don't know. I know that he wasn't perfect. I know he did a lot of sinful things, and a lot of his old rap was very sinful. And even after he became a Christian, I know that he still played a lot of his old stuff that did not lift up the Lord. But like I said, I don't know, so I'm not going to say. I'm just going to hope that he made it. And then that brings me to my last point on that subject, is just I really feel that people should not be honoring and praying for people that have already died. You're supposed to honor people and pray for them while they're still alive. You know, what good I hate to use you as an example. I'm not saying this is going to happen. But if something was to happen to my brother, what good is it to him if I'm honoring him and praying for him after the fact? It does him no good. But guess what? If I honor him right now while he's sitting next to me, if I pray for him right now while we have this fellowship, what's gonna be more effective? What is actually gonna be more useful? What is more meaningful? Once somebody dies, your prayers go to the wayside, because they're either in heaven or hell. Mm-hmm. And no amount of prayers is gonna change either one of those outcomes. So that's just the last thing on that I wanted to say, is just pray and honor people while they're still here. Don't wait till they've died, because once they've died, it's too late. It's too late. So, yeah. You know, I pray for his family. I pray that the Lord gives them strength, and I feel for his family. I know he has kids, so I feel for them. I pray for them. And I hope that he made it. I really do. I hope that he made it. And but unless God tells me, I'm never going to know until I die. If I make it and I see him up there, well, then I'll know. And I'm sure he'll be rapping for the Lord if he is. So,
yeah, something that reminds me of on this subject is the Kobe Bryant stuff. Back earlier, it's 2020.
Yeah.
And when Kobe Bryant supposedly died along with his daughter in that helicopter crash, people were saying that they just left church, like either that day or the day before. And he was a church-going man, and Kobe, rest in peace, and all this stuff. And of course, we don't hope that anyone doesn't make it. We don't wish for that. But we still have to be honest with ourselves and with people and their fruit, and try to judge righteously. And you look at his life and his career, and he didn't bear fruit of a born-again Christian. And to say that just because he went to church, then it's just stuff like that. We've got to be careful as to passing judgment on people who die, especially celebrities, because of the persona that we see is done by design. Like, people see Kobe Bryant the way the enemy wants people to see him. You only get to see him when he's playing a game or on TV or in a commercial. You don't actually live with him. You don't talk to him on a daily basis. You don't see his fruit. You see what the camera shows you. And they have really high-paid people to make sure that that's a good image that's put out. They pay people a lot of money to have the best public relations. Mm-hmm. So Do I think Kobe Bryant is in heaven if he is even dead? These are things that we just can't say. And I don't, but judging off his fruit, if he is dead, I doubt it. But I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, he's in hell or yes, he's in heaven, because I don't claim to know him that well, and I don't claim to be the Lord by any means.
Yeah.
And that's a bit more extreme than DMX, because he had a lot more fruit in his life up until then, up until this. So it's even harder to tell with him. And I hope, like Stephen said, I hope that he made it and that he was healed and delivered of whatever he was battling. But these celebrities that die and then claim Jesus, or someone who's still alive claiming Jesus, Kanye West. But like, if you actually are a spirit-filled Christian, I don't think you're buying his conversion and his church services.
Yeah, and that's what I meant about these celebrities and these famous people. We, Christians are so quick to give them a pass because of their fame. Just like Kanye. But let's just take Snoop Dogg, for example. Snoop Dogg came into the gospel music industry, okay? Pimped it out.
He called himself Snoop Lion.
Yeah. Snoop Lion, like what, the Lion of Judah? And it's blasphemy.
And the whole time he's still doing marijuana, like goes to Jamaica, makes a gospel record high, and wraps it up with Christianese and New Age.
Yeah, well, he pimped out the gospel industry. They welcomed him with open arms. Christians welcomed him with open arms. He made a ton of money off of Christians and the gospel music industry, and then he bounced, and now he's back to his secular, Foshizi my kneesy type stuff. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
Yeah, it was just a game. Like he
he's
cashed some
laughing
checks.
at Christians. He's laughing in our faces. Because it just goes to show how weak the body of Christ is, that somebody can just infiltrate, come get in and out, and nobody bats an eye. Not only that, but get into the body and take your money. And you're basically, when you buy this music, it's like tithing. You're tithing into it. And obviously he's not a man of God.
And you're supporting by it. I don't know if we said it on videos recently, but Satan's a legalist. And when you support something by buying it, you're giving it rights. And all this music is cursed. These movies are cursed. Like, literally cursed. Not just physically, like hocus pocus, old school grandma Christian type talk. It's really cursed. And when you're spending money on it, you're inviting the curse into your home, or into your car, into your family, into your kids' room, when you put their iPad in front of their face, and they just listen to Snoop Dogg or Tentacion or any of these mainstream rappers. It's cursed music.
Yeah, they curse every single... back in the day when they had vinyl, which most of y'all probably don't even know what that is, but when they were cutting vinyl records, they had a master record, and they would, take it in this, top floor of this executive office in this, production company, music, company.
Yeah, record label, skyscraper.
Yeah, and they would have a bunch of high-ranked, high-level wizard and witches go in there, and there'd be a pentagram carved into the floor, and listen, they do all kinds of stuff. They would order principalities, and they'd order demons to follow every single record that was cut. And different music and different albums that had different demons attached to it. Some of them had attached demons of anger and violence to them. A lot of your thrash metal and heavy metal and metal has that attached to it, because I know I used to be a fan. When I was in the secular world before I was born again, I used to love metal. That's, I used to enjoy working out, and my workout playlist was just all metal, because it literally put a spirit in me where I wanted to just either beat someone up, rip someone's head off, or, really pump some iron. It got me going, but there's a spirit behind it. Other music, there's actually homosexual spirits behind them, like Queen and all these other, different genres. There's just different. They attach demons to them. Now they do it differently because we don't have records anymore, but they still do it just the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now
they're cursing the digital.
Yeah,
copies.
well, it's a broadcast. They're casting a spell. It's a broadcasting of a spell through the media or medium. They're a medium, and what they're doing is they're contacting these demons, and they're casting this broad spell over the entire world. And they do it through these little scrying mirrors, these little black mirrors. That's another thing is in witchcraft and Satanism, they have a thing called a scrying mirror or a black mirror. There's a popular series on Netflix called Black Mirror. Well, guess what? A black mirror is used in witchcraft and Satanism, and it's used as a portal. They use it to conjure demons. Just like if the old, what is it, Snow White?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mirror.
Yeah, where Disney, mirror on the wall. She was a witch, and who is she conjuring? Who is she talking to? She's talking to a demonic spirit. And if you look, you can go on YouTube and check it out. Just type in Disney mirror on the wall, Snow White or whatever, and it was a black mirror. It was a black mirror, and those black mirrors are portals, and it can literally open up a portal for things to come out of. And we're all carrying around a black mirror. We're all carrying a scrying mirror. There's a scrying mirror everywhere you look. So it's real important to pray over your phones, anoint them, and bless them, and break off curses. Because I guarantee you every one of these is cursed from the manufacturer. Because most of the stuff, the majority of people are not looking at holy stuff on these things. The majority of people are not looking at things and listening to things that honor God. So that's just food for thought, I also believe this is tied into the image of the beast somehow. I'm not necessarily saying it is the image, but it says that everyone will worship the image. Well, you walk into any restaurant, any coffee shop, and they've got one of these. And listen, worshiping something is just whatever you're giving most of your time to. Whatever you give the most of your time to is what you worship. What do people give most of their time to? What are they glued to? Everywhere you go, people are like this. You go into a restaurant, you have a family, a mother, father, and like 4 or 5 kids. None of them are engaging with each other. None of them are talking to each other. They're all glued to their little scrying mirrors. They're worshiping. And what's on here? An image. There's an image on here. Well, I actually have a good image on mine, but there's an image that comes on these things. And in Revelation, it says that it was given, I think it was the beast that gave the image power to speak. Mm-hmm. Does the image speak? I don't know. Let's find out. Hey Siri, what's going on?
Here's what I found.
So, it does speak. The image speaks. And it's a little spooky and a little alarming, but is that the image of the beast? Maybe not, but maybe this is, just like this jab, what if this is the precursor? What if this is the appetizer to it? Everyone worships this anyway. If it's not this, it's a computer black mirror, or it's a big giant black mirror like I have on the wall there.
Well, the thing is, it's prophecy. It's Bible prophecy that it's going to happen, that the mark of the beast is going to happen, the Antichrist, the image of the beast, it's all going to happen. So you have to realize that if it hasn't happened yet, then the life we're living right now, everything in it, like these things, are all leading towards that point. Satan is doing everything he can to get to that point. So the things in society are probably, the majority of them, a part of that system. And they are stepping stones to that system. Just like them putting chips in our credit cards. One just out of nowhere, like 5 or 7 years ago,
yep.
You got chips in your credit cards and your debit cards.
Before you would swipe your card, remember?
Yeah, there's people that may not even know that, young kids and teenagers. Yeah. But we had just magnetic strips. And now when it started, you would walk into the store to buy your milk, and they'd say, do you have a chip? And you would have to look down at your card and say, yes, I have a chip, or no, I don't have a chip. And then if you don't have one, you have to say, okay, let me go get my chip. And it's programming. And if you do have one, you say, okay, here's my chip, and you insert it. It's a stepping stone to, do you have the mark? It's literally everything is conditioning, just like this is conditioning.
Yeah, and for me and others out there, maybe a similar thing happened, but when they transitioned and put the chip in your card, you were swiping your card, and then one day you swiped your card and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, oh, do you have a chip? And then you got to go, oh, do I? Do I have a chip? Yes. And then you got to look at your card and go, hey, there is a chip on there, because your bank went ahead and canceled your card and didn't even give you permission. They didn't get your permission. They canceled your card and sent you a new card that has a chip in it. They didn't even ask you.
Yeah. For the first time in human society, they insert the thought of, do I have a chip? Someone being asked if they have a chip. That hasn't been done, at least in the post-flood world. Who knows what happened before the flood? We don't really know all the details. There could have been a whole different version of technology and chips and tracking, but as far as our modern society in the last few hundred years, like, no human culture has ever put chips in something and had to ask each other if they have a chip to allow trade. Mm-hmm. So this was like a huge step towards the mark of the beast. That's that little chip in our credit cards, and no one thinks about stuff like that. It's become normalized. Where now it's about tapping your card. Do you have a new credit card with the Wi-Fi symbol on it?
No.
They have contactless credit cards now.
Great, yeah.
And you can literally take your card and just touch it to the scanner, and it's gone. And it's stepping stones. Yeah, before long, you're putting your hand over the scanner, or your forehead when you have the mark of the beast, or however they're going to do it. It's just programming. It's just conditioning.
Yeah, and coincidentally, my buddy just sent me a text message at 7:43 p.m. And he sent me a video. I'm not going to click on it, but literally the title is Pentagon Researchers Develop Microchip Detecting C-19 under the skin. So,
they're just inserting all this stuff into people's subconscious.
Yeah. That microchip that's the size of a grain of rice, which by the way, that little chip in your card, your ATM card, that is a microchip. And even if you don't have this is also a tracking device, but they can track you as long as you have that chip.
They can track your wallet now, they can track your card. Everyone has a card in their wallet. Yeah. If they don't have their phone, they have their wallet. It's just about tracking everyone.
Yeah, and that
control.
That microchip that's the size of a grain of rice. Look, they had that more than a decade ago. So now they have nanotechnology. They've got, I got a neighbor that says that he works for a company doing biotech.
Well, he does, or he retired? Either way, he was involved in the field.
Yeah, and he was doing gene editing, he was into that, cloning. He knows what luciferase is. He knows about all of this stuff. And honestly, when I was talking to him, I got the feeling that, I surprised him because I knew things that maybe he thought I shouldn't know. And when I asked him if he was a Christian, he said, well, if you're asking me, do I believe there is a God? Well, I believe there is a God. And right there, the Holy Spirit, just big red flags. And then that kind of scared him away, and he went home. And that was the first time I really met him and had a conversation with him. He's a new neighbor, older guy, but I don't know this. I don't have confirmation, but I feel like he might be a high-level Mason. But he knows what's going on.
And that may seem crazy, but we've run into a lot of Freemasons, especially Stephen. For whatever reason,
I'm like a Freemason magnet.
For whatever reason, they have conversation with him. They interact with him on a regular basis. And most of the time, we don't know they're Masons until the conversation is actually at a certain point. Or beforehand, and that's the reason you talk to them. We were just at the dog park the other day, like last week, and there's this guy comes up to Stephen under the gazebo, and I didn't even notice. He told me afterwards. And he had a big old compass Freemason emblem belt buckle on. and he came and talked to Stephen for like 20 minutes while our dogs are running around. But it just kind of happened. So the fact that his neighbor could be a Freemason and the Lord had Stephen have a conversation with him, and the way that it went, very into the like fringes of science and academia, like conversations that average people don't have anymore because people are so brainwashed that they just get triggered when you say something that's controversial. But he was able to have a conversation with him and then eventually had the feeling like he could be a Mason. But it happens quite often.
Yeah, I mean, I had this old guy come to the restaurant when we still owned a restaurant. My wife's restaurant, really. I'm not going to take any credit for it. But there's a guy that came in. He was, pretty much a regular, and he just would always talk to me. And then things would come up, and then he literally asked me one day if I was a Mason. And I laughed. I chuckled. I'm like, no, I'm not a Mason. I'm the furthest thing from a Mason.
Didn't you talk to him for like a couple hours?
Yeah, and it turns out he's a 32nd degree Mason. He belongs to the local lodge here.
There's quite a few local
in Georgetown.
lodges.
Yeah, and my ministry, this God's Army ministry, is a warfare ministry, and that's part of what we do. Is the Lord. I don't do anything unless the Lord tells me to. As a matter of fact, we still got to pray over that bar.
Yeah, true.
I just remembered an assignment the Lord gave me. We haven't done it yet.
We just do that whole building.
Yeah.
4 corners of that building.
Yeah. But a lot of times the Lord will highlight a property, a building, a neighborhood, literally highlight it, and we'll pray, we'll anoint, we'll break off curses, and we'll take back that territory for Jesus Christ. And that's part of what my ministry does. And the local lodge, that was an assignment. Some pretty supernatural stuff happened, but they don't hide it on the very front of this lodge. Above the door, there's just a big giant pentagram. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, no, I remember the one by the school or the dumpster. Or whatever.
Yeah, and with the point down, which represents Baphomet, it represents Satanism. I mean, they don't hide it. It's in plain sight. But yeah, this guy ends up being a 32nd degree Mason, and I guess because I had some knowledge, he assumed I was a Mason, and I laughed and said, "No, I'm a Spirit-filled, born-again Christian." And the mood changed a little bit after that, because I started asking him questions, and he just kind of started playing dumb. And, because I know about the secret oaths that they take and what's at stake. And then he started making me feel uncomfortable, because then he started asking me about my daughter, Julie. He's like, oh, how old is she? After I told him I'm a Christian. And he's pretty up there in age. He's probably in his
70s or 80s or something?
Yeah, he's like in his late 70s, early 80s. Sharp as a tack, but he was confident in saying that he has a lot of years left. And, I'm not going to go down that whole...
That's a whole nother video.
Yeah, adrenochrome rabbit hole, but...
We were happening to do research on that when he came in the restaurant,
yeah,
at the same time.
The Lord put it on our hearts about that. That was the same time that some stuff came out. I don't want to talk about it right now, but when he started inquiring about my daughter and how old she was, it didn't sit right with me. Needless to say, he came in probably once or 2 more times, and I hadn't seen him again. So, yeah, we're getting to...
Yeah, well, so we don't get cut off. We're going to have to stop it. Just kind of a short little discussion, jumping all over the place. We'll probably do more of these until we get a better camera, some type of way to record better. Right now, we're just using phones and doing our best. We're just trying to put some conversations out there.
I think we're going to invest in a camera. In a camera. And so anyway, it's a short one. We'll see you guys on the next one. We love you guys. Be blessed.